Grizzlies, right. Final score, you see it, 134 to 127. Looks like just another win, maybe, but man, after that tough loss to the Bulls, blowing that big lead, something tells me there's more to unpack here.
Yeah, for sure.
Luckily, we dove deep into the NBA Game Time breakdown on YouTube to really break down this Grizzlies game, We're talking about what it means for the Lakers, how tough they are, where they stand in the West, even the whole MVP race. So that's our game plan today. Pull out the juiciest bits from that commentary and figure out why this win, in particular, matters so much.
Right off the bat, it felt like a bit of a repeat of that Bulls game. Up by 20 against the Grizzlies, who, by the way, weren't at full strength themselves, and suddenly that lead starts to disappear. Makes you think about consistency, right?
Absolutely.
But then seeing them really fight back, close it out with a 22-9 run in the fourth, that shows something about their resilience. It's one thing to just win, but to actually take back control after almost letting it slip away again, especially after that loss to the Bulls, which, was described as devastating. That's impressive.
Totally. And I think it was Isaiah Thomas who said it in the commentary, that they're still learning under their coach.
Right.
Every game, whether they win or lose, seems to be a learning experience for them. Speaking of learning, Austin Reeves, and after that pressure of potentially being the hero against Chicago, he comes out and drops 31 points, leads the Lakers to a win. I mean, what does that tell us about the team's belief in him?
Oh, that says a lot.
Yeah.
They actually mentioned in the commentary that LeBron and even Luka, who wasn't playing against the Grizzlies, they met with Reeves that morning.
Wow.
And to get that kind of support from guys like that, superstars, especially after a game where some people might have thought he didn't play his best, well, that's a huge show of confidence. And Reeves himself said he felt their trust, especially in those big situations. Makes you wonder what they talked about, and how much that reassurance impacts a player's mentality.
Totally. And let's not forget the context here. The Lakers knew this Grizzlies game was crucial for their position in the Western Conference. If they'd lost, they would have swapped places with Memphis in the standings. That kind of pressure definitely impacts their performance.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at the standings in the West, every game has playoff implications. They're still trying to catch Denver for that third seed, a full game behind right now. And in the commentary, they specifically mentioned that the Lakers want to avoid that 45 matchup in the first round, which could mean facing Oklahoma City later on.
Yeah, that would be tough.
That race for seeding just adds another layer of intensity to these last few games of the season.
For sure.
Home court advantage, especially in that fourth spot, could be a big deal.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's interesting that they brought up LeBron and Luka's intelligence as playmakers and shooters, even though Luka wasn't playing. It shows how important it is to have those smart players, guys who can make the right decisions and handle the pressure in the playoffs.
Yeah, it highlights a crucial part of building a team and achieving consistent success. Even when a player isn't physically there, their reputation and their recognized skill set influence the way people analyze a team's strengths and weaknesses. It sets a standard for what it takes to win at the highest level.
Totally. Let's shift gears a bit and focus on Austin Reeves for a second. He used the word devastation to describe that loss to the Bulls in his postgame interview. But then he immediately talked about the importance of the Grizzlies game, emphasizing that they were fighting for that fourth spot. That mental shift seems really important.
It does. And he mentioned that the Grizzlies are a really good team, tied for fourth, and he even brought up a past playoff series where he felt like he earned the trust of his teammates.
Oh, interesting.
That adds another layer to his story with the team. It's not just about this season. There's a history there, a foundation of shared experiences that can really boost their confidence in key moments.
I like how humble he is, too. Just saying he's trying to do whatever it takes to help the team win at this stage of the season. Plus, having like 100 people from his home state of Arkansas in the crowd, that must have given him a little extra motivation.
Oh, yeah, that kind of local support can be a huge boost for athletes. It keeps them grounded and reminds them who they're playing for. But hey, let's move on a bit. The NBA Game Time crew also got into the always heated debate about the NBA MVP race.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
So according to the latest Kia MVP ladder on NBA.com, Sean Powell had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in first place, followed by Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. LeBron was at number 5, and Jason Tatum at number 4. And they made it clear that ranking these guys is no easy task. There are solid arguments to be made for each of them.
Absolutely. And one thing that stood out in their argument for SGA was the focus on his consistently strong performance. I mean, he's leading the league in scoring, and he's making a huge impact on both ends of the court. Top players in the league for steals and top 2 for guards and blocks. That two-way impact is a major part of his case.
They also talked about his scoring versatility, how he can drive to the basket, his improved mid-range game, which they credited to his time with Sam Cassell and Chris Paul, and his ability to get to the free throw line. It sounds like he's become a really complete offensive player.
Yeah, definitely. But maybe the biggest factor they discussed was the Oklahoma City Thunder's impressive success as a team. They're currently 14 games ahead in the Western Conference. And the point was made that while Jokic is putting up MVP-worthy numbers, team success often plays a big role in who wins these regular season awards.
That's a good point.
They even brought up a pretty crazy stat about the Nuggets. The difference in their performance with Jokic on the court versus off the court is massive, which shows just how valuable he is to their success.
Yeah, he's definitely a game changer.
But then again, one thing they mentioned in favor of SGA, besides his amazing individual stats, is that he's never actually played with another all-star, all-defensive, or all-NBA teammate.
Oh, wow.
So the idea is that he's carrying his team to a greater degree than some of the other MVP candidates.
That's a compelling argument.
Yeah, it is. And they also talked about SGA's defense, how he might have to be a little less aggressive to avoid getting into foul trouble since the Thunder rely on him so much. It's a tough balance between making an impact defensively and staying on the court.
It is.
I think the general feeling about the MVP race was that there might not be a clear, wrong answer. But figuring out the right one is the real challenge, especially with several weeks left in the regular season. And they also mentioned that historically, these regular season awards often go to players on teams with better records.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was interesting that LeBron was still in the conversation, even at this point in his career. That just shows how much of an impact he's still making and how consistently great he's been.
Absolutely. And tying this back to the Lakers' win, you can really see how these narratives about individual brilliance and team success play out across the entire league. Every game, every performance contributes to these ongoing discussions and ultimately shapes how we understand a player's value and impact.
I agree.
Okay, so wrapping it all up, this deep dive into that Lakers-Grizzlies game with the help of the NBA Game Time analysis really highlighted some key points for us. The Lakers showed some serious toughness, bouncing back from that loss and getting a crucial win that keeps them in a good position in the West and in the playoff race. Austin Reeves keeps proving himself as a reliable player in big moments. And that NBA MVP race is still a super interesting and complex debate, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander currently leading the pack because of his amazing individual performance and the Thunder's surprising success as a team.
It really makes you think, as we wrap up here, about what you personally find most important when you're trying to decide who deserves to be MVP. Is it all about the individual stats? Or does a team's record matter more to you? And based on all the arguments we've discussed, how do you think the Lakers' performance in these last few games could affect LeBron's chances of winning MVP, even if it seems like a long shot right now? It really makes you consider what most valuable really means in a league full of so much talent.
Absolutely.
Thanks for diving deep with me.
Of course. Until next time.